Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Dreamers Got Fitness Podcast Radio Show, coming to you on this Saturday afternoon here with a quick rant that got sent over to me by my homie Pat Rigsby, just on the perfect timing and the best time to start is when you're ready. And I think I'm going to chop and slice this a couple different ways. I'm going to talk from two different ends of the spectrum here, and I know for some of you it might be confusing because I'm going to preach about taking massive action quickly, but also patience and having a sense of urgency to get stuff done and to work quickly, work hard, work intensely, but be patient with the results and know who you are inside of that context. And I see this a ton with athletes, and I know a lot of people. He was talking about business. I'm talking about this in terms of people in general, whether it be fitness, finance, real estate, having kids, you name it. And I'll touch on all of these things a little bit deeper as we get into it. But the thing I've seen most often here in the past decade is people holding themselves back from achieving success and making progress because they thought they weren't ready to get started. They weren't ready to take that step. They weren't ready to start improving and living a better life because they had to wait for XYZ insert 97 bullshit excuses that really don't matter at all. They could have started instantly. And the truth is, all of you guys out there, you're ready today. I don't know what your thing is specifically, but if you're listening to me, you guys are watching our videos on Instagram. If you're watching on YouTube right now, hello everybody. If you're reading the blogs we put out, if you're reading the emails that I send out literally a handful of times a week, obviously you want to improve and you want a better life and you value some of the things I'm saying and doing, hopefully, and you want to be healthier, I would imagine. You probably want to eat better. You want to have a better understanding of nutrition and macros, and you want to work out more efficiently. You want to make the most of your time. You value your time because obviously if you guys hear me preach about it all day, like, you know how important it is. So you value the efficiency of your workouts. You guys want to take the right supplements. You want to be filling your body with the right things and not wasting your money. You guys, if you're a fan of me, you probably want to be out of debt. You probably want to improve your income. You want to have a bigger impact on the world and give back to people whenever you can. You want to have a better lifestyle. You want to be happier. You want to have a better mindset. You want to be a better fucking human being. Like, you want to be a kick-ass person. And I think that's normal. And you're probably doing some of the things right now to make that happen, and you're working on it a little bit each day. But I want to help you guys work smarter and work better. And you're ready for that, and I'm certain of it. But you don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to, get ready to get started. And the example I give is when we meet people and they're like, well, I'm really not fit. I need to work out and get in shape and lose some weight and go running before I come in and work with you. And I'm like, well, that's actually the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Like, that's what we do. Now, I understand there is crazy people out there who will clean their house before the cleaning person comes over. If that's you out there, stop doing that, please. You're paying them to do the service. Like, you don't have to clean your house before the cleaning person comes over. Now, obviously, if you got a bunch of shit all over your toilet, like, yeah, maybe like do a courtesy flush and stuff like that. But the point I'm sharing is, like, you don't do that. Like, I don't fix my car before I take it to the mechanic. The mechanic fixes the car. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I brush and floss my teeth every day before I go to the dentist, but like, I'm not doing a deep cleaning of my teeth before I go to the dentist to get my teeth deep cleaned. That's what they do. But people think in a lot of areas of life they have to really prep and plan and do all these things before they officially get started on a journey or started on something. And the reality is, you start wherever you're at. For all of us, we don't have to do 97 different steps to get prepared. You just do it. And I think that's probably the biggest thing. And ironically, the people who wait, to feel 100% confident, to feel 100% comfortable, to feel 100% ready to do something, they usually accomplish 0% of anything. I'll say it again. The people who wait to feel 100% certain and comfortable and confident to make a decision usually accomplish 0% of anything. By focus on simply getting started, taking the first step, moving forward, you can take simple actions, little rocks versus big rocks, that will yield amazing results. And those results compound over time. That's why I compare finance and fitness one and the same. It's like, well, I have to wait until I have, $30,000 to invest in a retirement account. No. Most of these places will take $500 from you guys, or $1,000 to get started, or some of them even $200, and you just let that shit roll, and you add 200 next month and 200 next month, and all of a sudden compound interest, you're a millionaire when you're 52 years old. Pretty amazing stuff, right? It's the same thing with fitness. Like, You don't have to be able to run a marathon to come in here. You don't have to be able to row a marathon to roll up in here. You don't have to be able to deadlift 600 pounds right off the bat. Like, you just have to show up and you do what you can do on day one. And over time, as your income increases, you raise your 200 a month contribution to 300 bucks and 400 bucks and 500 bucks and 1,000 bucks and so on. And when you come in here and you can barely do a bodyweight squat, all of a sudden you're doing bodyweight squats with 30-pound dumbbells and then 80-pound dumbbells, and then you're front squatting 200 pounds and so on and so on and so on. The compound effect of that, you guys, is huge. But if you waited until you were elite level strength, if you waited to have $100,000 before you invest, you're losing all that time. You're losing all that compound interest in your fitness, in your money, in your education, in your relationship, in anything you're doing in life. I don't know where the idea comes from where we have to be perfect and everything has to be amazing. It's like if someone bought a new home, and I understand like you want to show it off to your friends and family in some weird, strange way. I understand it, but the house doesn't have to be perfect for your friends to come over and have a party and have a good time. It's a box with a cover on it. Like, that's a house, you guys. And again, I'm not bagging anybody. Like, houses are important and I get design and things like that. I'm a dude, so I don't love it, but I do understand the concept of it. But your house is a box with a cover on it. It's 4 walls and a roof, and it's there to keep you safe from animals and elements, basically. And I can promise you your friends really don't give a shit about your backsplash or your floor. They just want to hang out with you and have fun. So it doesn't have to be perfect to have like a housewarming party. It doesn't have to be perfect to enjoy a good time. But I'm giving these examples because we do this with so many things in life, and it is just lunacy to me, and it's insane. And so the 2 things I want you guys to know. Number 1, no one. And I mean, no one is really ever 100% ready for most things in life. Now, there might be a few instances where you have this certainty, but I think almost with everything, there's a little bit of doubt and fear and reservation. I think that's normal. I think that keeps us sane from doing, ridiculously stupid shit. It's those of us that have like zero filter. And somebody like, well, Jeremy, you don't have a filter. I promise you, I do. I catch myself on this podcast not saying certain things. And I sometimes catch myself listening back to it like, man, I kind of sound like an asshole. I shouldn't have said that. But most of us aren't 100% certain to do anything, whether that's going to college, and that's even getting married, for that example. Like, people get nervous, people get scared, people get cold feet, people have reservations about their partner or themselves, for that matter. I think more so about who we are and what we're going to do and who we're going to be. Same thing for having kids, same thing for starting your own business. You name it, almost none of us are 100% certain of doing anything in life, and that's okay. Because if we waited to be 100% certain, almost none of us would be married, almost none of us would have started a business, almost none of us would have traveled the world or took a trip or taken a chance on anything. When you guys are, dating somebody for the first time and you're going to go in for the first kiss, like, is she going to really be down with this? Or is she going to think I'm going to creep show? Is she going to punch me in the face? Whatever it is. I always went in with confidence. And even if they weren't going to do it, I was going to try to put my big ugly face on there and just see what happened. But the point is that very few of us, you guys, are really 100% certain about anything, but yet in certain areas of our life, we're just willing to take a chance and go for it. In other areas, we are so crippled by fear and paralysis by analysis, and we just don't take action. And that's the biggest thing holding people back. And it's really strange to me how certain areas of our life, we're just willing to say fuck it and go for it. In certain areas, we're like, oh man, I'm not sure, it might not work out, because I don't know if it's the fear of failure or the fear of it not working out. I think that's a big thing for a lot of people, or the fear of looking stupid. But I promise you guys, nobody cares. And we all fail and we all fuck up, and 19 things always go wrong. And that's life, and that's how we learn, and that's how we grow. I said it all the time. Like, some of my biggest failures in life have been my greatest learning moments. They've been my greatest stories. They're the greatest memories of my life. Now, it sucks when you're in it, for sure. But over time, you learn. Like, that's how we become better. And if we all were just afraid all the time to take a chance and take a risk, none of us would do shit. Think about that for a second. And if I'm talking about my own life and doing this and quitting my corporate job and starting a business with no clients and no money, I'm probably a prime example of it. And at this point, I probably coached, I would say, well over 10,000 hours of actual fitness in the past 15 years. And it's probably being conservative when I say that, like face to face. And I'm not including the internet. I'm not including events. I'm not including corporate stuff we've done in different places. I'm talking face to face with humans in the trenches, at least 10,000 hours of that. And most of those people if not all of them, weren't 100% ready to walk in the door here and really get after it. Or they weren't 100% ready to do all the things we were going to ask them to do in terms of tracking macros and, practice mobility and learn how to foam roll and listen and read and educate themselves. And we're going to put them in postures and positions, or we're going to challenge them aerobically. Or maybe they had a fear of group training, or they had a fear that they couldn't do it. But I promise you, of all the people who have come in here, which is thousands and thousands of people, I don't think any of them were really 100% ready. Even if they said they were, like, I'm really committed, there was always a little bit of doubt, a little bit of reservation, a little bit of fear, and that is okay. And again, the timing, it could always be a little bit better for everything. Finances could always be a little bit stronger. Your confidence could always be a little bit higher, but improvement is always a result of the change and the actions you guys are taking. Knowing what to do is not enough. You have to actually do the shit. And I'm a fan of, podcasts and personal development and reading and educating yourself, but that stuff is worthless if you don't actually, put pen to paper, put your feet to the floor, actually do the fucking work. A lot of people get so wrapped up in like, oh, I'm going to read and I'm going to learn and I'm going to listen. And that stuff's all amazing. But my biggest failure, for this podcast would be is if all you guys did was listen to me and then got off the podcast and didn't do any of the shit we're talking about. That would be an epic fail. That would be terrible. I'm hoping a lot of you guys take some of the things we say and you put them into play in your life. But knowing what to do isn't enough. And, you can read about stuff, you can listen to things, you can read about push-ups, you can watch push-ups, but if you want to get stronger, build a bigger chest, stronger shoulders and triceps, and just be a better person at push-ups, you have to actually do the push-ups. It's just the reality of it. Like, you can listen about finance, you can talk about it, you can watch videos on it, you can podcast on it, but if you don't actually save and invest your money, it really won't do you any good. And so you guys have to decide what solution and what actions are right for you. And so if my daily podcast and my videos and my blogs and my emails have helped you in any way, I am sincerely humbled by that. And I'm also super jacked by it too, because it's a really cool thing. But maybe you guys don't need more from me. Maybe you want more. But what I'm telling you is this. I want to you guys to take a call to action today. Take the first step towards whatever it is you want to get done in your life. Hey, I want to look better. A, I want to move better. I want to feel better. A, I want to get out of debt. A, I want to write a book. A, I want to start a new business. A, I want to take a different job. A, I want to further my education. A, I want to travel the world. Whatever your shit is, take the first step today towards that thing, whether it's reaching out to a coach or community. I don't know what it is for you, but you have to do something. Even just writing it down, just thinking it in your head, well, I've always wanted to do this and I thought about it, but if you never wrote it down anywhere, how real is it yet? So I'm saying, as simple as that is, putting pen to paper has a lot of power. I promise you guys, if you get off this podcast and you do nothing, which is the most common move for people, just know that no change and no actions typically equals no improvement and no results in your life. So if you're listening to me and there's 2 or 3 things in your life that suck right now, or they're not where they want to be, or you're doing something that is good but you want to be great, or you're great and you want to be fucking phenomenal, if you do nothing, which is the most common thing for humans who are kind of stuck in a rut and who complain and they whine and they bitch that their life isn't improving and things aren't going the way they want to, just know that no change and no action typically equals no improvement and no results. And if you're ready now, what I would tell you guys is you can hit me up, you can ask me a question, I'm happy to help you any way I can, or reach out to a local coach, a local community, a local advisor, or call or text a buddy or a homie or somebody to work with, to help you, to raise you up, to be part of your inner circle, or just make a public declaration hey, here's what I'm going to do and we're going to get this done. And it will give you a sense of, I don't want to say relief, but it will give you almost like a community. It'll give you a team. It'll give you a coach. It will give you a partner. It'll give you somebody to lean on. It makes it real when you have written things around your house. It makes it real when your best friend's going to drag you out of bed and pick you up and take you to the fucking gym. It makes it real when you have a financial advisor and he calls you and says, hey man, you haven't given me anything for your retirement in the past 6 months. It makes it real when you set an appointment, when you set a date, when you make a public declaration for something. That's taking the first step. And one of the biggest mistakes people make is not even taking the first step. And the decision you guys make today when you listen to this, in whatever it is you're trying to get done, it can change your life forever. And sometimes it's that simple. It's sometimes the most basic, simple advice, the simplest shit that we don't think to do, that we don't put into play. One of the greatest things I do is I write everything down all the time. And if you guys are on YouTube right now, if you watch me as I pick these up, I literally have hundreds of post-its everywhere. I have lists on my computer, I have checklists, I have reminders on my phone. And again, sometimes it's a little bit much, maybe, but it prompts me and it reminds me to take action, to do the things I'm actually saying in my head. It becomes real. And again, I've talked about this before in probably the last 10 podcasts. My wife and I made a decision, as a team, financially, to pay off our home completely. And if we stay on track, we will get it done in, our goal is less than 8 years total. From the day that we signed on to it, when that was 6 years ago. So it would be by next year. By the end of 2020 is our goal. And is it easy to do? Fuck no. It's super hard, and it's actually really annoying when you're just paying all this money towards a mortgage and over and over again, when you could be buying a lot of really cool, fun shit and doing stuff. And that's selfishly us doing that. And again, we take amazing trips. We still do a lot of really fun stuff. So don't feel bad for us. That's a conscious decision we are making. But we made that decision as a team and a choice. And what we did was on a refrigerator, and we take it down when people come over because we don't want to. I don't want to have the conversation with them about specific numbers and either like make people feel uncomfortable or whatever it may be. But when we're home, which is 99% of the time, it's just us and our dog, on a refrigerator, we have it taped to it. And it's a huge list. And it's every month of what the starting balance was and us paying it down month by month by month by month. And we have a timeline that we're following. And it's very specific. And I'll share it with you guys when it's all said and done, if we can pull this off. And at the date I want to pull it off, I have a whole plan in my brain, which is really important to me, and you guys probably don't give a shit, but it matters to me. And so we're following it, and we talk about it every month, how we budget our money, what we're spending, what's coming up, what's going down. And so we keep kind of, rolling forward. And because we wrote it down, because we put pen to paper, because we update it every month, because we talk about it on our weekly budget meeting, it became real. Now, if it was just something we said, 3 months ago, like, oh, well, we're going to pay off our house and we'll get to it, or it'll just work itself out, nothing would have happened. Nothing would have changed. If we didn't budget every dollar that comes in, if we weren't very specific, if we weren't very mindful, if we didn't communicate, before we made purchases and decisions and, save an emergency fund and do the 15 things that we've done to safeguard ourselves and make sure we're making the right decisions, nothing would have changed. Nothing would have happened. We would have had no progress and no results. But because we wrote it down, because we came to a head, because we hold each other accountable, because I've talked about it here to probably 1 million people at this point, it becomes real to me. Now I feel a sense of obligation inside that I need to get this shit done because I said something and my word is everything. So I'm going to follow through with it. And that's the point of me saying that, you guys. So the decision you make today can change your life forever. My advice to you would be this. Figure out who you are as a person. Figure out what you want. Figure out what matters most to you and what actions you need to take to bring you the most happiness, to bring you the most fulfillment. Not just today, but next month, next week, next year, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 minutes from now, whatever it is. Now, you're not going to be happy every second of every day. There's going to be seasons where things go up and they go down. But for the most part, you're figuring out, hey, who am I? What do I really want out of this life? What do I really want to get done? What matters to me most? What actions are going to bring me the biggest results and most importantly, the biggest fucking happiness? That's it. What do you want your daily life to look like right now, in a month from now, a year from now, 5 years from now? And again, I have no idea, you guys, what my life will look like a year from now and 3 years from now and 5 years from now. I have a picture in my brain and I probably laugh because it will look nothing like that because we never know life, where it's going to take us. But I know who I am and I know what matters most to me. And I know what actions every single day are going to bring me closer to my goals. And I know what actions are going to bring me the most happiness. And that's how I kind of predicate my entire life by. And that's what I think success is knowing who you are and knowing what matters to you and then doing the things every day that bring you results and bring you happiness, and one and the same. And now there's going to be things you do that suck shit and you're doing them just for a result. And that's fine in the micro. But in the macro, you can't be miserable every single day just kind of going through the motions or being afraid to take chances and make choices. And just really understanding like what you want your daily life to look like, because that's everything. I think we get so hung up on, if it's a book, like, well, what does chapter 1 look like? And what does chapter 15 look like? Yeah, to me, it's more important about what's in chapters 2 through 14, because that is the bulk of the book. That is the bulk of our life. And so the day-to-day is everything. And when you guys are figuring out, who you are and what you want to do and what matters most to you and what's going to bring you happiness and results, you have to do it for you. And I put an emphasis on you have to do it for you. Y-O-U. You can't do it for everyone else, and you can't do it for anyone else. And just because everyone else is doing something, or somebody else is telling you to do something or giving you advice to do something, and even if you have the ability to do that thing, it doesn't mean it's right for you, because you have to really reverse engineer yourself. Like, what am I going to do that's going to bring me, and if you're married and your family or your team or your partner or your community or your business, if you're a business owner, what's going to bring us the most, happiness, the most fulfillment, and what's going to bring us the most results. And I think that's probably the key. Happiness and fulfillment and loving the progress and everything you're doing has always been the game. It'll always be the game, and I don't think that will ever change. And that's why I urge you guys to do shit you love with people you enjoy, because your life is too short not to do that. But in order to make that happen, in order to get all the stuff and all the things and all the accomplishments and all the happiness and all the fulfillment, you have to take the first fucking step, man. You have to be willing to take the first step, even if you aren't 100% ready. I am very much a ready, fire, aim guy, and I'll clean up the mess later and deal with the shit that I caused, because I think taking action oftentimes is a key. I'm not a, ready, aim forever, never fire, or eventually fire after wasting days, weeks, and months, and even years, and then looking back at your life, having this huge amount of regret, being like, man, I wish I would have took a chance then. I wish I would have made a change then. I wish I would have done this 15 years sooner. Now, hindsight's always 20/20. There's a lot of things that I maybe should have took action on quicker. And again, when you're making decisions, make them informed, based on, what you and your partner and your team and your people want to do. But don't be so afraid to take a chance and to fail, man. And the biggest keys for me is writing things down, sharing them with your inner circle first. If that's, mom, dad, husband, wife, brother, sister. I think asking for advice from people who are really educated is important. People who have been there before, typically people older than you, smarter than you. And not doing that, to me, it's like going to the doctor. It's not doing it just from one route. It's getting multiple opinions, I think, is key. So you can ask people, and then when you're asking somebody their advice, when they're an expert in the field, you can take that advice, but then look at them as the person too. And that's what I tend to do with everybody. And I work with a lot of people who are fit. And I work with a lot of people who are super rich. And I work with a lot of people who are super stressed. And I work with a lot of people who are not fit. And I work with a lot of people who have no money. And I take something from each one of those people. And I'm like, how happy are they? And that's the biggest question I always ask myself. I'm like, how quick are they to take action towards getting the things that they want to get in their life? And how happy are they when they get those things? And did they enjoy the process when they were on that journey to do that? And that's all this podcast is, you guys. It's just a really quick rant about you understanding that there is no perfect time for everything. I don't know if you'll ever be ready to do a lot of the things you're going to do, but I don't want you to sit and live your life on what we call the someday island, like trapped by fear of doing something or not sure if you should take a chance or take a risk. And only you guys can assess that for yourself. But again, the biggest keys in my entire life of any success that I've ever had, or if you guys think that I sound like a person who's enlightened and has kind of got his shit together, even though we're admittedly all really fucked up, I find I'm the happiest that I've ever been. And I've been super happy, you guys, for the past probably, I would say 10 or 11, probably 12 years. Now I have my moments just like you guys do too. I'm a real person. And it might be 15 seconds here or 2 minutes here. But overall, I'm just really fucking jacked, man, to live life. And everything's been pretty awesome for me, so I can't really complain. Even though the micro stuff, I deal with bullshit every single day, just like you do. But I'm happy as hell, dude. And so if I sound like that to you, and you guys, if I sound authentic and it sounds real, what I would ask you guys to do is really just understand, who you are as a person. What makes you tick? What makes you happy? What lights you up? What gets you excited? What makes you want to just live fucking life? And what matters most to you? Is it a house? Is it a car? Is it being fit? Is it food? Is it booze? Is it, taking trips? Is it money in the bank? Is it prestige? Is it legacy? Is it job title? Only you can answer that. And what actions are going to bring you closer to those things that really matter to you? And ask yourself, why do they matter to you? Why does it matter what kind of car you drive? Why does it matter how big your house is? Why does it matter what the zip code is? Why does it matter where you got your degree from? Why does it matter if you have six-pack abs? Why does it matter if you write a book? Why does it matter if you post that picture on Instagram? Again, there's no judgment here. I'm just asking you guys to ask the very basic question, because we're the only mammals that can have thoughts about our thoughts. And so I think self-auditing and self-questioning is a very powerful tool. And you can drive yourself fucking nuts by it too. And sometimes the answer can be, I want to have six-pack abs because it's going to give me self-confidence and people are going to think I'm sexy as fuck. And that's what it is. Who knows? Or say, hey, I want to drive this car because I've always thought, Mercedes were cool and people will think I'm fly and I'm going to feel like a gangster in it. And so that's what it is. So there's no judgment here, you guys. Or you want to say, I want to be super fit because I want to look sexy for Coachella. That's super cool too. Or I want to be healthy because I want to play with my kids and not die when I'm 37 years old. That's also super amazing. The point is asking the questions of yourself. What actions are going to bring you closer to those results? Will those actions also bring you happiness along the way? And what do you want your daily life to look like? Not just right now, but for the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And make sure you guys, when you're asking those questions, and you get the answers, you are doing it for you and you alone and nobody else. And do not be afraid to take the first step. I promise you, if you guys can commit to that, it can change everything. So that's just my quick rant for this Saturday. Really simple stuff. And again, all things I think you guys probably already know. But I just meet a lot of people who sometimes they are their own worst enemy. They are their own worst critic. They are the only person holding them back from living an amazing fucking life. And sometimes they tell themselves a story because it's because of their husband or their wife or their mom or their dad or their sisters or their brothers, or it's because of their coworkers or they didn't grow up with money or they live in a certain neighborhood or they can't do this and they can't do that. And I'm here to tell you guys, almost every person I meet, the biggest person holding them back is themselves. And I did a Mental Edge podcast with this guy Ryan, I think it was like a week ago. And he asked me, what's, one of your biggest fuck ups? And I'm like, it's got to be me, man. I can talk about ecosystem and not growing up with money and not, having an IQ as high as, most of the kids I went to school with and all that bullshit. But it's me. It's me being afraid to either take chances or risks, or it was me getting in my own way and in my own self-destructive patterns, and me having a negative mindset, me not having gratitude, and me not having perspective. And any problems I have in my life are from me. Any successes I also have in my life are from me as well. So I think when we take extreme ownership and extreme accountability, shit gets really awesome really fast. And so for you guys out there, if you want awesome stuff in your life, just take the first step today. Write it down, get a homie, get a community, make a public declaration. I promise if you do that, it can be a game changer for the rest of your life. So if you guys are on iTunes right now, stop. Do not be a lazy ass. Drop me a 5-star. I truly would appreciate it. Write a comment. I love seeing anything, whatever your guys' honest opinion is. I can take it. I promise you that. And please share this podcast with your friends and family and tell them it's the greatest podcast that ever existed. And if there's anything else you guys want to hear specifically, hit me up. Let me know. I'm happy to record it if I can. I got a lot of stuff in the queue. I'm probably going to do a huge Instagram Q&A podcast. If I can do it tomorrow, I will. Otherwise, I probably have to get to it on Monday. I'll go over everything you guys requested and asked for within reason. Some of the stuff we get is just, it's even ridiculously inappropriate for this podcast, and I cannot answer those questions ever, let alone on a public airwaves that gets shared out to hundreds of thousands of people. So with that said, thank you guys for listening. I appreciate you. And again, really don't hold yourself back. Don't be your own worst enemy. Don't be negative. Don't fill your head with negative bullshit. All of you guys are fucking rock stars if you choose to be and want to be. All of you have some gift, some skill, some gift that you can do to A, make money, A, to be happy, A, to travel the world, A, to be fit, A, to live wherever you want to live and drive where you want to, and do whatever you want to do. If you're patient with the results, but you have a sense of urgency to take the first step. Now, if you take the first step and you're like, well, shit, Jeremy, I worked out for 3 days and it didn't go the way I wanted to. Well, no shit, man. It's 3 days. You can't look like a rock star in 3 days. You're like, oh, man, I tried this and I failed. It's okay to fail. What's not okay is not to try. What's not okay is not to get started. What's not okay is to be afraid you're going to fuck up 87 times, because you're going to, and that's cool, man. But what's not okay is not taking the first step, not having action right now, this second, to get all the shit you want to get in your life, because you will never have more time in your life than you do right now to get everything you guys want to get, so get after it. And until next time, you guys, eat well, train hard, be nice to people, and please keep doing shit you love with people you enjoy, because your life is too short not to. I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.